Hey everybody, so this is going to be a quick video solution for the AP Calendar Free Response question that I assigned last week. As you know, it was from the 2019 AP exam. It was number 1, and that probably means you already looked at the solution, but I'll go through it and some of the reasoning behind what we write, and hopefully that helps you out a little bit. So, as I told you before, most of the information you actually need is right here on this page. What we actually see is each of the different methods in this class, and we see a description of what each method does, and a list of any parameters or returns that are included with this method that are relevant to the code that we actually have to use. Now, as you notice, a lot of the methods here say implementation not shown. In the code, the starter code that I gave you, there also wasn't any implementation there, which meant if you ran this program, it probably didn't work the way you'd like it to, or it didn't really give you a meaningful way to see if your code was right. So I went ahead and filled in the missing parts. The first one is leap year. It's a pretty straightforward method. A lot of you have probably written something just like that before, that it returns true if a year is a leap year and false otherwise. There's actually some pretty complex rules, so that's it. That's the solution here, right here in line 8. All right. Next is the first day of year. First day of year is a method that returns the day of the week of the first day of a given year. And you can find something like this formula to calculate what that day would be pretty easily on the internet, which is what I did. I actually just found this formula and put it in Java for us. All right. Finally, we have the day of year method. Now, the day of year gives you how many days it's been since the beginning of the year, basically. And turns out there's a Java library class called Calendar that actually basically can do that exact thing for you. So I went ahead and put that in here, and our program should work now once we get the rest of the code in. All right, so I'm going to scroll down, even though I said most of the information is already right here. I'm going to scroll down here to part A and point out something very important. We actually have to use is leap year in our response. If you don't use is leap year, you are actually penalized in this question. And same thing for part B, by the way, when we get there. You have to use the 2 given helper methods. If you don't, you're penalized, even if your code works completely. So anyway, the method we're using in part A is called is leap year, which of course returns true if it's a leap year and false otherwise. All we're going to have to do in this method here is keep a count of how many leap years there are between year 1 and year 2 inclusive. All right, so that's pretty straightforward. I'll start with int count equals 0. And again, we're going to need to loop from year 1 to year 2. I'll do that with a for loop. For int I equals 0. Ooh, not 0, sorry. Int I equals year 1, because year 1 is our starting point. I'm going to keep looping as long as I is less than or equal to year 2, because it's inclusive. And we're going to go by 1 every single time. Now, what we're going to do is check if each year I happens to be a leap year using the is leap year method in an if statement. So if is leap year I, again, I could write equals true, but that's actually optional in this, since the method itself will result in either true or false and would be a valid thing to put inside my if statement. Go ahead and leave it. And again, all I need to do here is actually increment count if I know that something is a leap year. All right, so that's just about it. I'm going to go ahead and return count at the end of this, and first method is done. All right, so moving on to part B. Part B is day of week, which returns an integer value representing the day of the week for the given date, where 0 is Sunday, 1 is Monday, and so on. So again, we have to use first day of year, we have to use day of year. Those 2 methods are very important here and actually make our lives a lot easier. This program isn't, or this method is not necessarily very difficult if I use those methods, right? So what we do is we think about, okay, the first day of the year, if I know that, then I can calculate by the number of days that have passed what day it must be, dividing by 7 and calculating the remainder, or mod. So I'm actually going to take the first day of year here for the given year. And I'm going to add to that the number of days it's been. So day of year for the entire date. So month, day, year. All right, let's make a little more space. Oh, we're out of space. All right, that's fine. Do it this way instead. Now, there's something important that we have to make note of here. Day of year for January 1st would return 1. First day of year for January 1st would also return 1. And if I want to know how many days have passed since the day of year, that's actually a problem. So first day of the year, I should go back a step, actually. I feel like I confused that a little bit. First day of year is the day of the week, right? So we can consider if the first day of the year, say, is Monday, January 1st is a Monday, this would be 1 for Monday. If January 1st is our day, that's the first day of the year. And I wouldn't want to add 1 and 1 to get to Tuesday if it's just the first day of the year that I'm looking for. Got it that time. So I'll subtract 1. All right, because day of the year, we actually don't want to increase by the entire return value of day of the year. We want to subtract 1 from it to make sure we don't go 1 beyond. Anyway, if I add those two things, I'm going to get some number larger than my initial first day of the year, potentially much larger. Could be obviously any number below 365 or up to 365. If I take that number, divide it by 7, and calculate the remainder, I'm actually going to be able to figure out what day of the week it is. All right, and that's actually the entire method. There's nothing else to do. So the original day of the week plus however many days it's been since the beginning of the year, mod 7, and we're done. All right, so that's the entire thing. I'll go over here to the runner program and I'll run it one time. Looks like I'm in the way, so I'll move myself a little bit. 5, 5, 4, 6, 6. Here twice, so that's why we get 5 twice between 2000 and 2019. But let's see, day of week for January 10th, 2019 is 4. Let's check it. January 2019, the 10th, 4. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's correct. And the day of the week for January 5th. January 5th is Saturday, and it returns 6, which is Saturday. All right, so everything we did works. That's the end of this video. If you have any questions, let me know on Google Classroom or send me an email.